here.
I'm going to call you soon.
What you've just been watching is part of a trailer for a locally produced film that's going to have its premiere at the Princess Twin Cinemas coming up on April the 25th. It is called Faith Check. And we happen to have some of the crew behind Faith Check joining us today. This is Eric Berg, an actor, writer, and director. Troy King, who's the actor and producer. And Jim Schneider, the composer, all with the movie Faith Check. Good to have you all here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Susan. Glad to be here.
Well, you know what, Eric? I'm going to start with you because I know this is kind of your baby. You're the writer. You're the director. Also have a role in the play as well.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about where the idea for Faith Check came from.
Well, Faith Check came out of a couple things. I'd loved the modern day films that Pureflix has done showcasing action and drama but with strong faith messages, and the some of the big films like Bible films from the 60s, they were a bit of an influence, and so I wanted to tell a story that had some modern day references with some action and elements and stuff that people could identify with and tell an interesting story.
So how long did it take you to, put pen to paper and kind of come up with the play itself?
The initial write was about 3 to 4 months, I think, and then I gave it to different friends and people to read, and then I did another draft, and then we started doing some casting, and then another draft went through. So I think it was about a 5-month to 6-month process.
Which, it sounds, when you're talking months and months, it sounds like a long time, but when you talk to people who produce films such as you have, that's a fairly short amount of time to get this all done.
It came together very quickly.
Well, and you had to go through, you had to audition. Troy, you were one of the people that he auditioned, and I know that you and Eric have worked together before.
Yes. I was doing Macbeth when I was in high school, and I spoke to somebody in the cast who was doing camera work on a film that Eric was involved in, and this was 5 years ago at least. And I said, hey, I'm looking to do films, I'm interested in this. They put me with Eric to do an audition, and it just kind of went from there. I've been doing films with him for 5 years now.
Well, here's the great thing about doing films on somewhat of a smaller scale, locally produced. It gives you the opportunity to try your hand at a little bit of everything. And in this particular film, you got to be producer. Tell me a little bit about the producer role.
Typically, what I would do, I would offer revisions on the script. There's camera operating. I helped with auditions, editing, different things like that. But at the same time, I was, also involved in the film as an actor. So let's say on a day where I have a scene, I would, I would do an action scene or a fight scene, and then as soon as I'm done, I would go behind the camera and shoot the rest. So
it's almost like you've got to have a little bit of a dual personality for
Absolutely.
this, because at one moment you're thinking one way, another moment you've got to kind of separate yourself from that and think in a completely different way.
Exactly. This isn't like a Hollywood thing where they've got like 1,200 people working behind the cameras. You have to be doing more than just your fair share in order to get everything done. Make sure the atmosphere is light, that we're accomplishing the filming aspect, and that we're doing it in an honorable, integrable way.
Well, it's not often that I get to talk to a composer on a film, but Jim, that was your role. You were the person behind that. And when we think of music in movies, it really is, it sets the scene.
It plays a big
plays
role.
the tone. How did you go about coming up with the music for Faith Check?
Well, it's a long process. How can I say this? Well, it starts off with a story, and
do you actually see the filmed parts first before you're writing the music, or do they just sort of give you the storyline and then your mind starts creating the music?
sometimes I'll get the script, and sometimes I'll get the actual film. I start off with an idea in my head, and like the inspiration, and then what will happen is I'll watch the movie many times. I'll go over the film probably about 30 times, and then I'll come up with ideas for like the instruments. I'll watch the timing.
You know, when you mention the timing, I think about that because it's those sudden influxes of
Yeah.
music that really add to a scene. So you've got to be bang on when it comes to timing.
Yeah, you really have to watch out for the hit points. You have to follow the story, like where it's going, the emotions. You have to watch out for, you know, how soft, how loud.
Even the pacing of everything.
The
It's all
pacing.
reflected in the music.
Things speed up when there's an action scene.
Exactly.
When you have a love scene, you know, you want to have, you know, soft, you know, like flute, strings. You know.
Exactly. It's got to be able to portray what we're seeing on screen.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be able to see the finished product now on screen. You are having the premiere of Faith Check coming up on Tuesday, April the 25th at the original Princess Cinema.
Yes, we are. We are. It's going to be a very fun night. A few of the other actors are coming back. We're hoping to do a Q&A, and I'll do a little speech in that about the process in that. And we're just it'll be a fun night. And for people who like the film, they can contribute financially to make donations, and then that'll go to help funding future projects. And we'll have DVDs for sale as well.
And funding great local films and artists as yourself that are doing this work right here in this area. It's Faith Check Tuesday, April the 25th at the original Princess Cinema, and you can go online, you can find out more about it. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be back with more Daytime in just a moment. Stay with us.